Making decisions when you're in the middle of depression is really, really difficult, even when it's stuff that you know you should be doing. Scheduling that appointment, cooking healthy meals, getting that exercise, whatever it could be, it's really hard to make those decisions and to take those actions when you're struggling with depression. And so, having practices in place that make the decision ahead of time simplifies the process and helps you to better navigate the complexities of depression. Do you want to achieve your goals, but anxiety is tripping you up? Like to keep those fun weekend plans, but depression has you counseling again? Hey, I'm Lori, dog mom, lover of nature, and hygge enthusiast. Positive psychology skills help me overcome chronic severe PTSD. If you're ready to learn how to overcome your anxiety and depression and rediscover happiness and purpose in life, then get your cozy on and let's get started. Welcome back to Practical Solutions for PTSD. And today we're going to pick up on the first two words of the title of this podcast, practical solutions. Anytime I'm presented with a problem, especially if it's something I need to address specifically, I really like to have practical solutions for that problem, so that I can have some kind of impact on it and to be able to change things. And so today we're going to talk about 10 things that you can do to prepare for those days that you have when you're struggling with depression, your anxiety is super high, or your PTSD kicks in, whatever it could be, your grief, whatever you're dealing with. 10 things that you can prepare ahead of time to help you better manage those days. Now, this is not a pessimistic view. You're like, I'm going to be depressed. It's very practical because we know we hit those cycles. I've talked a lot about seasonal affective disorder. I know some of you have specific months in the year that you're dealing with grief, or, you have stuff that's triggering you in specific months. Whatever time that, if you know it ahead of time, this is going to be difficult and you could prepare for it, this is much better. Even if the day surprises you, you weren't anticipating having a tough day, but you know what you're going to do on tough days, you know what you can dip into and to help support you during those times. Now, if you're sitting there going, I have no idea where to start. One thing you could do is to schedule an anxiety and depression breakthrough session with me. You can go to calendly.com/practical solutions for PTSD. And schedule a 60-minute session. I work with you one-on-one and help you establish your own personalized program and system and these practical solutions for how to deal with these tough days. And this week, obviously the 10 things that I'm going through right now are going to be going through today. You can implement any of those. We can come up with your own solutions that work better for you and what you normally do on a day-to-day basis. But it helps you to develop your personalized toolkit to be able to handle this. So again, you can go to calendly.com/practical solutions for PTSD, schedule your anxiety and depression breakthrough session with me, and we can work on that and get you something personalized in place. Again, that's calendly.com/practical solutions for PTSD. So let's jump into our topic for today and our 10 tips that we're going to talk about. So one of the things when you're dealing with depression, the executive function of the brain, or the decision-making capacity, is definitely impacted. It's really hard to get enough energy to think through something and make a decision when you're struggling with depression, and to varying degrees, anxiety and PTSD as well. So being able to have things set up ahead of time so you don't have to make those decisions, but it can keep you on track for where you're headed, or it can help you to recover much quicker. This becomes really important. So making those decisions ahead of time, having things laid out ahead of time, so you can just fall back on that when your brain isn't wanting to cooperate. So the first thing you can do is to have a low energy menu. Now, this can work not only if you're struggling with depression or anything, mental stuff like that, or just maybe you're just not feeling very good. You're really tired. So these low energy menus can be super beneficial. I remember there was a time when I was really, really bad at that point. And a friend of mine asked me, she's like, Lori, what have you been eating? And I was living on protein bars and eggs because it took no energy to fix them. Protein bars, all I had to do was unwrap them. Eggs were super easy to cook. But they're not, if that's all you're eating, Nutritionally, I was not doing good at all at that point. So she had some friends cook for me for a while, set that up for me. And then later on, I started coming up with solutions on my own. And one of them is I would go to Costco and get some of their healthy pre-made foods. I found some stuff that really worked. It was really close to my dietary requirements. It's organic, healthy, etc. And I could just buy them, and all I had to do was warm them up, throw them in the oven, put them on the stove, whatever it was. And it was really simple, and it kept me eating a lot healthier than protein bars and eggs. Then there's also some recipes I have that I came across that didn't take a whole lot of effort to make. And so, depending on where I was in my energy scales, I would either buy the prepared foods or or blend it in with some stuff that took low energy to create. And that made a big difference in my nutrition. And as we all know, nutrition is so, so, so important when you're supporting mental health. Really important. So, even if you're not able to eat optimally, a friend of mine has this saying. He talks about good, better, best. So best is obviously the gold standard, but sometimes we can't always get there. And it could be your energy levels, it could be finances, whatever it is. But if you can at least get to good or better, it beats out horrible. So even if prepared foods weren't the optimal nutritional thing for me to eat, it sure beat out protein bars and eggs. So having those things that you can rely on that are really quick and easy for you to tap into, where you can keep your nutrition at either that good or better level, that could really help you. This is a good thing. So having that put together ahead of time. You can even prepare foods ahead of time. If you know, if far enough in advance, that this is going to be a tough month for me, I'm going to be super busy. It's going to be a time I'm going to be struggling with depression. So having that prepared ahead of time, the actual food, can be very helpful as well. So those low energy menus, really, really great thing. Number 2 is the comfort box. Now this has a direct tie to hygge. But having those things that bring comfort to your heart. So depression has a tendency to narrow your world down. And this is both literal, physical, and emotional. Like your body begins to curl in on itself, your brain closes down, it doesn't see as much, and your emotions close down. And you begin to feel like everything is horrible and bad and difficult. Well, comfort begins to widen that up a little bit and make the difficult time a little more manageable. So it could be just as simple as a mug that somebody gave you. It's your favorite mug. Every time you see it, you think about the fact that this person loves you, especially if you have something warm in there that gives you a tactile warmth as well. It can help increase the impact. So having a favorite mug, or maybe you have that soft blanket, a calming scent, a book that just is like your favorite escape of all time, your favorite story, some handwritten notes for yourself. So, keeping those things where you write down happy memories, you can go back and read some of that. It doesn't have to be super fancy. It doesn't have to be completely, very complicated at all. It can be very, very simple, but it's just those things that bring comfort to your heart, and they can help you through those difficult times. Tip number 3 is healthy comfort foods. Now, one thing I have found is it's really important to have healthy comfort food alternatives, because when you hit those emotional times, trust me, I found out the hard way, carrots just don't cut it when you need comfort food. And there is such a thing as having comfort food, things that bring you emotional calm and comfort when you're having a difficult time. If you can come up with some that have healthy ingredients, or at least healthier, so you may be on that good, better, best spectrum, it may be down in the good, but it keeps you away from just straight out junk food and those horrible things that will make it, in the long run, will make it a lot worse. So maybe you can have, your favorite yogurt cups, or like chocolate for me is a non-negotiable. It will remain in my life till the day I die. So finding ways I can eat it that are healthy has become one of my favorite things to figure out. And there's some really great ways to do that. So being able to come up with things like that where you can still have your comfort foods, but they're healthy, or at least healthier than the regular option. Tip number 4 is a one-button playlist. So again, your executive function is low and decision making is really, really difficult. But there are things we can listen to that can be very uplifting and encouraging. Maybe a comedy routine that just gets you laughing and gets you tickled. I know I've been following these two Brits that have been going through Michigan in the wintertime, which they're back home now, but they're going through the month of January. And talk about belly laughs in this house. We have just rolled laughing at some of the things they did. But if having something positive to listen to, it could be music, it could be a story, it could be a comedy, something. It's very uplifting and helpful. But when you're in a position of depression and your executive function is low, having the energy, one, to find it and then to play it is just too overwhelming. It's too far of a bridge to cross. You just can't quite get there. But if you have the playlist ahead of time, you could have some favorite comic routines in there. You could have your favorite songs, the ones that really minister to your heart. But it's a one button. You make it ahead of time. You could even name it low day playlist, whatever, just encouragement playlist or whatever you want to name it. But it's just a one button. You push one button and there it is. It's all your favorite songs, it's your comic routine, whatever it is that is uplifting to you. This takes the decision making out of it and makes it much easier for you to do it. I know for me, sometimes it's even figuring out what story I want to listen to. If I'm in the middle of a series, it's so much easier to just go to the next chapter or the next book or the next whatever. But if I have to figure out what I want to listen to next, that's much harder. Having a playlist put together takes that decision-making process out and you're set to go. Tip number 5 is your appointment lifeline. So ask me how I know this. Scheduling appointments ahead of time is very, very important. Yes, I have been in positions where depression has just knocked it out and I did not make appointments for like 3 months and I should have been in there weeks ahead of that time. And I even knew it would help me, but I just did not have the emotional energy to get on the phone and make the appointment. It was just too hard. So having the appointments made ahead of time, hugely beneficial. And this could be for things like your therapy sessions, your doctor's appointments, all those things that directly address what you're dealing with, but it can also be just as simple as a haircut, a mani-pedi, a coffee date with a friend, your ladies group meeting, whatever. It could be those times, just routine stuff, but you schedule it ahead of time. When you do that, it becomes an anchor on your calendar and something that gets you motivated to move. And that can be difficult when you're depressed, is getting motivated to move. But if it's already on your calendar, you don't have to think about putting it on there. You're more likely to attend. So having those those appointments already laid out can keep you going when you really need that. It doesn't have to be super busy, super complicated, but just it gives you that gentle nudge to get connected with life. Tip number 6 is sunlight strategy. Now we've talked about this before, but sunlight is super, super important for your mental health. And being able to make sure that you're getting that exposure, at least to some degree on a regular basis, is important, but especially on those days when you're struggling with depression. So having an idea ahead of time how you're going to handle that, or having a plan in place for maintenance and maybe some additional steps to do if you're struggling, this is really important. So one of the things I do around here, and I've talked about this before, but this is part of my sunlight strategy, is I open the blinds every morning to let the sunlight in. Even if it's cloudy outside, it's still letting filtered sunlight in. So I open my blinds every morning to do that. And I made that a routine when I was struggling with depression. We were all working at home through COVID, and it was very easy to fall down the cave rat hole and never come back out to see daylight. And so I started making that as a routine to just open my blinds and let the sunlight in. And it made a huge difference. My office, I sit out on the porch. I have windows 3 different directions. I face northeast. I got some of the sunlight comes in from the northeast, and so as the sun is coming up until like 3-4 o'clock in the morning or in the afternoon, I have a lot of direct sunlight out here, and that really helps. Another thing is going outside first thing in the morning, first 20-30 minutes going outside, letting that sun hit your face, taking a 5-minute walk over your lunch break, coming up with some kind of strategy. If you're in a place where you can't really do that, or it's too cold outside, or the sun's not shining, or whatever it could be, having a happy light and doing it that way can be very helpful. But making sure that you're getting enough sunlight to be able to help you to counter that and to lift up your spirits can be really beneficial. And having a plan of how you're going to do that is a good thing. Automatic orders is tip number 7. This is one of my favorite things to do. If you have stuff that you know you're going to be using on a consistent basis, and becomes really important when it's things that are nourishing you. So your vitamins, your supplements, whatever it is that helps you, foods that you consume on a regular basis, or maybe it's just, I use a lot of Post-it notes, and so I have a Post-it note order that comes automatically. It could be as easy as that. But having those automatic orders where you don't have to think about it, because this is what we're trying to do. Ultimately, overarching all 10 of these is to take the thinking out of it. When your brain isn't wanting to work and it's really hard to think and it's really hard to make those decisions, we're trying to take as much of that off of it by planning ahead of time as we can. So this is another one that you can do, is to set up some automatic orders. And this could be for all the things that I've listed, anything else you have in mind. This is not a result of being lazy. This is strategic thinking and strategic planning, getting some stuff in place where it takes the thinking off and it just happens automatically and you don't have to worry about it. Hugely beneficial, one of my favorite things ever. Now, I do recommend periodically going through your PayPal account or your credit card account or all your subscriptions, keeping track of them somewhere so you're not paying for stuff that you're no longer using. You do want to check in on that periodically, but having automatic orders in place, love it. One of my favorite things. Tip number 8 is to have a minimal social plan. Now, before I get into this, I'm going to give a slight caveat. We are social creatures, and it is important that we stay in contact with people. But this is really important. It is okay for you to limit that on days and weeks when you are having a hard time. You want to be able to balance how much energy you're putting into things. And if you're keeping up a high social calendar when you're struggling with your mental health, you're investing way too much energy into that when you need to be investing some of that into healing or rest or rejuvenation or whatever it is. You need to be able to balance that and be a good steward of your emotional energy. And some of that is developing a minimal social plan. You do still want to be in contact to some degree. You don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole where nobody can ever find you, but you can have it minimal. So maybe instead of talking to whoever every single day of the week, you just have a couple days you're going to check in. Maybe instead of having an hour-long conversation, it's a 5-minute conversation. You could still have that coffee date that you had scheduled out with a friend, but you're only going to do it for 30 minutes instead of 2 hours. Having minimizing that a little bit to be able to handle the emotional strain that you're under, it will help you. Staying in contact to some degree will also help you. So that's important, but you don't want to overdo it. So being able to keep that balance and have a plan ahead of time. I would really like to do this, but I just don't have the emotional bandwidth to do it. So maybe I can cut this down a little bit. Having that planned out ahead of time will take out some of the guilt and will help you so you don't have to decide in the moment. It's already figured out. Tip number 9 is visual reminders. Now, I've mentioned this before, but I am a huge lover of Post-it notes. You can see my desk. You would see Post-it notes everywhere. I love the things. And so being able to keep that up there helps me where I don't have to remember to remember. I have to remember. And so it really helps take some of the load off. And I can put up my favorite quotes. You can also make it very practical. So when you're struggling with depression, sometimes it's hard to remember things as simple as, I need to drink my water. I need to take my vitamins. Do whatever. Keep moving forward. It could be a favorite quote of yours. I have one sitting up here right now that's from one of my coaches. She's commit to one thing. It's actually stuck on I'm looking at it right now on my computer screen. So having those things up that are visual reminders that keep you on track, it can really be helpful. So having that done ahead of time. Tip number 10, this is our last one, the inspirational folder. So if you're part of the Facebook community, You know that we have Photo Friday, and where I encourage you guys to post a photo from the week, something where that makes you smile, it brings happy memories, whatever. This is part of the reason why I do that. When you're in the middle of depression and anxiety or whatever it is, when you're in those dark moments, it's very easy for your depression to rewrite your memory. And it can convince you that everything is bad and nobody loves you and it's just all horrible and terrible and awful and life is just miserable. If you have an inspirational folder that you can go to, you can counter that with some positive information that is still real. You're not lying to yourself, but it's stuff that's hard to remember when you're depressed. So having those favorite photos that make you smile, that bring back happy memories, like, oh, I remember doing the, X, Y, and Z, or, I had so much fun out with my girlfriends on this special trip that we did a couple weeks before December or before Christmas. It was just a lot of fun. Looking at those pictures brings those memories back. So that's a really, really good thing to do. Maybe it's a favorite quote or a scripture that God's gave you, a promise. It's another one I have sitting by my desk is, have no fear, I will help you, from Adonai. And that's Isaiah 41:13. That's a liberal translation. Having those around that remind you and keep you on track and keep you encouraged is very, very helpful. One of our listeners sent this in where every Wednesday she writes down something and puts it in her gratitude jar. On those tough days, she goes back and reminds herself, she can reread them and refresh her mind that God is still with her and God's walking through the tough times with her. This is a fantastic practice to use and to remind yourself that God is still there, that good things are still happening, people still love you. So having that inspirational folder, super, super helpful. So let's just a quick reminder of our 10 tips. 1 is a low energy menu. 2 is a comfort box. 3, healthy comfort foods. 4, 1-button playlist. 5 is the appointment lifeline. We have all your appointments scheduled ahead of time. 6 is a sunlight strategy. Number 7 is automatic orders. Yay! And you can add automatic bill pay to that. That actually saved my credit rating. Number 8 is minimal social plan. Number 9 is visual reminders. And number 10 is the inspirational folder. So, to reduce the amount of energy required to function when your energy is low, you can pick out one of these and implement them, or just look back at when you're struggling with depression, what would have made that easier and how can I plan ahead so that next time this happens, it will make it easier. Also, as I mentioned before, you can set up an anxiety and depression breakthrough session with me. I can help you come up with some ideas and implement those as well. None of this is to pretend that everything is okay. It's just to remind you that not everything is bad. And also to set up some practices that make those tough times a little bit easier on you and helps you to bounce back a little bit quicker. So a playlist, grocery order, whatever it is, pick one thing that you're going to work on this week. Just one. Don't have to make it super complicated. Just one thing. And get that in place so the next time you're dealing with a difficult time, you have something to fall back on and you're ready to go. So thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I look forward to hearing from you. Let me know what you're working on, some practical things you're going to implement in your life. I'd love to hear from you guys. And remember to subscribe, to like, to share this program so that other people get the news. And I will talk to you next time. Quick reminder, you can schedule your 60-minute anxiety and depression breakthrough session. Just go to calendly.com/practical solutions for PTSD and schedule that today. Hey, my friend, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you please take 30 seconds and share it with someone you know who may be struggling with depression and anxiety? Also, would you please leave a quick review for the show? Knowing how this podcast is helping you fills my heart with so much joy, and it motivates me for future episodes. For now, it's time for Sam and I to head outside to enjoy some sunshine and fresh air. We'll see you back here on Tuesdays and Thursdays for more great episodes.